Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about some insider reporting from Chris Lowe. Obviously, we talked about his article yesterday, but he put out a couple more tweets this morning that I wanted to mention on today's video. Also, a 2026 quarterback prospect has scheduled his visit with Alabama coming up this weekend for A-Day, so we'll break all that down on today's show. But if you guys are ready for A-Day, make sure you guys show it by liking today's video. All right, the first tweet that I want to get to here by Chris Lowe was about the quarterbacks. He said, my take on the Alabama football quarterback situation after being on campus. Ty Simpson is best positioned to be the starter, but has to go win it. He hasn't done that yet. Austin Mack is battling and has done has had support among players. Keelon Russell is the most talented of the three, but he is still a freshman. It is a legit race. So there's not really much new there that we didn't already know. The way it's kind of worded, it kind of sounds like Kalen DeBoer actually wrote the tweet itself, but I do love, the fact that you hear a lot of the, Ty is the number one guy right now talk out of the media and their sources, but Austin Mack continues to just put his head down and go to work. I really do appreciate from him in this quarterback battle right now because, look, by all accounts, Ty Simpson should be that starter next year. But, the competition in the room is awesome to hear right now, and that's why you go to Alabama at the end of the day. The more competition, the better, and I really do love hearing that about Austin Mack and, the support from some of those other players as well. The next thing I want to talk about here, we talked to Germie Bernard about some players that might emerge this season for Alabama. Germie Bernard listed out Rico Scott, safety Zavier Mincey, and also Dre Kirkpatrick. Also shouted out Jaeden Roberts as well, saying if he's going to be healthy, he's really going to be much improved this season. You're really going to see that. I'll start off with Jaeden Roberts here. I love to hear that about him because, we talked about it the other day. The continuity of that offensive line was just up and down a lot last season. You had Jaeden Roberts and Geno Vandermark going in and out at that right guard spot, mainly because Jaeden Roberts was hurt for the majority of the season. So I think if Alabama can really, have some players along that offensive line that can stay healthy, I think they're going to do a whole lot better this season. We'll continue to talk about Rico Scott, Zavier Mincey, and Dre Kirkpatrick here as well in just a second. But name a player that you think will break out here in 2025 for the Crimson Tide. It's the pinned comment of today's video. So that ad's going to play right here on YouTube. That is totally fine. You guys can get down there, take advantage of it. Let me know a player you think is going to break out here in 2025. All right, so there's been a lot of buzz this spring about this Alabama wide receiver room. And look, we know the main guys, Germie Bernard, Ryan Williams. You added Isaiah Horton, Jalen Hale also coming back from injury this year. But with what Alabama could possibly get from the depth that they have in this wide receiver room, I think is going to be really notable as this season goes on. Considering last season, you really didn't get much out of your starters who are not named Ryan Williams and Germie Bernard. I think your number, 3 through 6 pass catchers last year weren't even wide receivers. So if guys like Rico Scott, Latsier Brooks, Cole Adams can really, break out this season, there's been a lot of buzz about Rico Scott and Latsier Brooks. Cole Adams coming back from injury. We'll see. With all the talent in here, we'll see where Cole Adams is able to slot in. But you also have Jalen Mbakwe, Derek Meadows as well being added to that group. Obviously, Derek Meadows in that 2025 class and Jalen Mbakwe coming over from the defensive side of the ball. Also have Bubba Hampton. He's out this spring, but we've definitely heard a lot of good things about him as well. And I think it shows a lot about his character as well, not hitting the transfer portal, coming back for another season here with the Crimson Tide. Then you go over to that defensive back room as well. I saw Clint Lamb yesterday. Him and Mick Gillespie were talking on their show about that safety position. And Clint said, he thinks Alabama really does have 3 starting caliber safeties this year between Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard, and Zavier Mincey. How they're able to get Zavier Mincey actually on the field, I'm not really sure how that's going to work out yet. But Kane Womack really does love mixing things up on the defensive side of the ball and just using a lot of different looks. Dre Kirkpatrick has gotten a lot of love this spring as well. And with a guy like Damani Jackson, out for the spring. Red Morgan actually has been working a lot at that cornerback position as well. So not just at the Husky position, also working in at that outside corner spot as well. And you also got Cam Calhoun from Utah out of the transfer portal. He was one of the highest graded defensive backs last year per Pro Football Focus. You also got Dejon Lee. He's really pushing to see the field early as well. And you don't even have Chuck McDonald on campus yet. So I really do think these two groups for Alabama right now, the wide receiver group and the defensive back group, are really going to be the strongest two groups on the roster. And going up against each other at practice every single day is just going to make both groups even better. We'll continue on with some quarterback talk in this 2026 recruiting class here in just a second, but we got to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time because they are the sponsor of today's video. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier, and prices on the Game Time app go down the closer you get to first pitch. Because, baseball season is in full swing right now. The Braves ended up winning a big game last night against the Philadelphia Phillies. If you guys are Braves fans out there, I certainly am. Game Time has killer last-minute deals. They have all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price is guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They have last-minute deals. You guys can save up to 60% off on buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. I love going to stand-up comedy shows. My girlfriend is a big theater person, so we got to mix that in every now and then as well. But you guys can use the Game Time Picks feature. It just makes getting last-minute ticket buying even easier by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium or whatever venue you end up going to. They also have the zone deals. You guys can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seat, because it doesn't really matter what seat you are, sitting in, as long as you're in the right row section and everything like that. Game Time definitely does make it easier for you guys. You guys can go see Alabama baseball this weekend as well, taking on Mississippi State. Talladega coming up here in just a couple of weeks as well. And then you also have a Chipper Jones bobblehead night coming up on April 22nd for the Atlanta Braves. You guys can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create an account and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS. That's ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. So download the Game Time app today. They have last-minute tickets at the lowest prices, all guaranteed. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about on today's video, Derek Zammit, a 2026 four-star quarterback. And yes, he is ranked a little bit lower right now, number 26 quarterback in this 2026 class, and also the number 6 player out of the state of New Jersey. Alabama offered him back in February, one of only a couple offers at that quarterback position. And it seems like right now, they're kind of behind on recruiting that quarterback position because they haven't really pursued a bunch of guys. But remember, Keelon Russell didn't actually commit to Alabama until June 4th. It was right before that, I think like the first weekend of June or something like that, is when he took his first official visit to Alabama and then quickly ended up flipping from SMU there to the Crimson Tide. So they got a lot of time here, but I do wonder, with only 3 quarterbacks on the roster right now, it really seems like you're only going after one in that 2026 class. Is Alabama going to end up adding a quarterback from the transfer portal here in the spring transfer portal window as well? So I want to hear from you guys in the comment section of today's video. Will Alabama pursue a quarterback in the transfer portal this spring? Let me know. Type Y for yes or N for no in the comment section of today's video. Now back here to Derek Zammit. He will take his first visit this weekend. Bama 247 and Bama Online both reported that yesterday. And, just from watching a little bit of his highlights, I think this kid really does have some nice pocket awareness. He's definitely not a run-first guy, but he is mobile as well. He's very accurate on the move, and he really does fit a lot of throws into some very tight windows. I was really impressed by that while watching some of his huddle film out there. He's got a really nice deep ball as well. He had a 60-yarder and a 50-yarder, both, air yards anyways, in the first couple of minutes of his highlight reel there. And Alabama probably isn't going to get a very highly ranked guy in this class. This just kind of is what it is, coming off of the heels of recruiting the highest ranked player in Alabama recruiting history in Keelon Russell. So, remember, Courtney Morgan, Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, they did a phenomenal job in finding and recruiting Keelon Russell last year. And I think they've proven that they can, do a very good job in evaluating talent, even if it is some of those lower rated guys. You look at his passing stats right here last year in his junior season. One thing that sticks out to me is the same thing that stuck out to me for Keelon Russell. He takes care of the football. 35 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions as a junior there. The past 3 seasons, over 5,500 yards, 57 touchdown passes to only 14 interceptions. That is very impressive. And when you talk about his mobility as well, like I said, he's not a run-first guy, but he definitely can run. 64 carries last year for him, over 500 yards, averaging over 8 yards per carry as well, and 6 touchdowns. So, like I keep saying here, he's not the highest rated guy right now, but, I trust this Alabama coaching staff when it comes to going out there and scouting some of these players and evaluating these players because, like I've said video after video, these recruiting services can't find everybody, but, going out there and finding a guy like Derek Zammit, I think he can be a very good football player, and he might even have to sit a couple of years at the end of the day, and that's not that big of a deal. Some of the top schools right now for Derek Zammit, you got Alabama, Mississippi State, Washington, and Syracuse. I believe it was Bama Online said that Ohio State was also kind of in the mix there. He took a visit to Ohio State. He also visited Mississippi State and Washington this past month as well, but he did not leave that Ohio State visit with an offer. Things might change, but as of right now, these are the top 4 teams for Derek Zammit. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We're going to have a ton of Alabama content over the next couple months for you guys. Even though it is the offseason, official visits are starting up here in just a couple of months, and then A-Day is this weekend as well. So do not miss out. Make sure you guys hit that sub button for me. It's youtube.com/@RollTideTV.